What's going on with the Knicks here?
What a mess. I mean, bad optics for them. Obviously, the Knicks are not going to win the PR battle because of the idea that, they can't win any games. Dolan's been there forever. Team stinks. Phil Jackson and Carmelo Anthony. And then Oakley, who I think is wrong. And then Oakley is obviously a beloved Knick player from a 10-year period, which they were very good. Oakley gets into, a major dispute with Dolan and gets ushered out of Madison Square Garden in a loss to the Clippers on a team that's 9-10 games under 500. Rough times for the Knickerbockers, Richard. Rough times.
There's no question, Christopher. But, I mean, what in the world is going on with James Dolan and this team? Because you've been around forever with this franchise and know it before and now and after. What type of guy is James Dolan?
Quirky. Quirky's the best way to explain it. He's a quirky guy. He demands some loyalty, and if you notice, a lot of old Knick players are, part of the organization. He's very loyal to them. They're to him. That's Allen Houston, ambassador, is the sort of team. John Starks is sort of the team ambassador. Clyde does the games. Willis Reed was there on Saturday night, 70th anniversary of the Knicks. Larry Johnson's got a job with the organization. So, Allen Houston's the assistant GM. There are a lot of the old Knicks. Herb Williams was an assistant coach for 100 years. There were a lot of old Knicks from a variety of eras that are very loyal to Dolan. And, and as a result, Dolan has paid them, put them on the payroll and everything else. And then there's Oakley, who, for a variety of reasons, whether it be they haven't hired him as a coach, they haven't put him in the organization in some sort of spokesman role, make him an executive like they have with Larry Johnson Starks and Allen Houston, three of his old teammates. And so now you have Oakley, who is bitter that the Knicks, he feels, have sort of thrown him by the wayside. And so he takes lots of shots at the Knicks anytime he gets a chance. And I think that led to what you saw a couple nights ago.
So do you think Dolan knows that he's the most hated owner in New York City? Or he doesn't care?
I don't think he cares, though.
Why?
I just don't think he cares.
Why?
The 19,818 are there every game. The Rangers, the team he also runs, are a very successful team. They've been to a Cup final not too long ago. Have a Hall of Fame goalie in Lundqvist. Have a good coach. He's been there for a long time. He loves Sather. He takes some sanctuary with the Rangers. The Knicks are the marquee attraction, however, of the building, and they've been bad. And I do think you're right. It looks bad. He is not going to get any support in this dispute, but I just don't know. He's going to do Michael K today in New York.
He is,
which is an interesting at 4:00, which is an interesting scenario where maybe he wants to put out the brush fire, which is surprising for Dolan, him coming out of the cave, so to speak. But down deep, Rich, I just don't think he cares that much of the perception that he has with Knick fans. And in the last 3 years, to be fair, he's turned over the car and he's handed the keys to Phil Jackson. He gave him $60 million. He's been out of the way. There wasn't one Knick fan who didn't like that move when he did it 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So for the most part, he has not been in the mix for a couple of years now. This one, reared its ugly head a couple nights ago.
Where does this rank?
It's, I'd have to give that some thought. They've had a lot of low points the last 15 years. They had Van Gundy. He left. They've had a million coaches. Don Chaney out in the streets of New York flagging a cab was not a good sight when they got him out of there, which wasn't fair. The Larry Brown saga, which they, basically paid him not to coach, and the animosity they have with him. Dolan getting in the way of Donnie Walsh, a great executive, with the whole thing with the Anthony trade from Denver to begin with. Listen, Oakley's the sort of guy, he wants to comp tickets. He wants to sit at midcourt. He wants to be part of their 70th anniversary celebration. But by the same token, he wants carte blanche to kill the Knicks. And you can't have it both ways in Dolan's world. So in this particular incident, I can see why Dolan is annoyed. But again, as you said here, Rich, you're not going to win that battle in New York against Oakley, who was here for 10 years, gave everything he had, was a fearless leader, didn't have to score to be a factor, was noisy, had a lot to say, but he played hard every night, did all the dirty work. And you know better than anybody, you from here, New Yorkers love players who do dirty work, who do a lot of the things that, are sort of blue collar. And Oakley did that. So to fight with Oakley doesn't really serve you well if you're the owner of the franchise.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.